With the 15th pick and with the 26th pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Dwayne Haskins, Montez Sweat.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sister. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. So we're live, and if you've had a chance to check out the Redskins Nightly News from today, great, good job. You essentially did your homework before this test that we're about to have. Well, let's call it a quiz. It's not really a test. But I talked about Dwayne Haskins and him taking first team reps at practice today and him having a little bit of a media scrum at his locker. When you are perceived to be the starting quarterback, you are available to the media. And so because he took first team reps, he was available to the media today. And really, the reporters have free range to go and interview anyone they want once they have access to the locker room. But you know, it's really not a lot to, you know, a lot of dialogue between Dwayne and the media when he's not playing. And Dwayne really doesn't, as you'll hear in this audio that I'm going to play for you, he really doesn't really care to talk to the media right now, especially being that nothing's official. Once he starts, I think he'll start to learn how to address the media, learn how to play that game that you have to be able to play as a starting quarterback in this league. You can tell he's annoyed at certain things, and you can hear it, and we've heard him talk before. But I wanted to play you the audio from Dwayne Haskins' media scrum today after practice and let you hear Dwayne Haskins. And then I want to talk about a story that was written a couple of days ago regarding Dwayne Haskins, and then we'll jump into your calls and open up the phone line. So with that being said, let's get to the audio from Dwayne Haskins at practice today.
So what?
First start, what do you think?
That happened today? When that happened? I didn't know that.
Announced it today.
Oh, I don't know. If it happens, it happens. I'll be excited.
How important is it for you to get days like this where you get as many reps as you get?
Very important. It means a lot.
And how does it help you?
Just being in the rhythm, seeing it on the field instead of not knowing what it looks like helps out a lot.
Is the mindset a little bit different in a week like this where you know you could be making that first start?
I don't think it has nothing to do with this week. I just think it's a change in me. So.
What do you mean by that?
So what?
What do you mean by that?
Got to just find out. Yeah, questions?
What caused the change? Or
Caused the change? Mm-hmm. It's a good question. A lot of stuff. Almost a lot of stuff. I'm just excited to keep working.
Do you feel like you're getting plays put in for you that may be familiar to what you're used to, going back to Ohio State or maybe even high school?
Whatever the coach puts in, I'm going to love it, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to master it.
from your perspective, what's the next step in your progression?
Next step in my progression, first start, and see how it goes from there.
What's it like for you to have, because both your actions coming in at halftime or late in the second quarter, what's the challenge for you as a young quarterback to have to do that versus being able to go in and start?
Every day is a challenge. Every game's a challenge. Every time I put my helmet on, it's a challenge. So I'm looking forward to conquering that challenge every day. And, another day down in the books, I felt like I did got better today. So I look forward to it tomorrow.
Dwayne, what have you seen from the Bills and the tape that you watched on them?
A lot. Play a lot of different defense, a lot of different coverages. Active front, good secondary, good team.
Do you get hyped when you know, hey, I got a chance to start this week?
I get hyped every day, get to put the helmet on. So even more incentive to put first start on film, even more excited about it.
Dwayne, you said when you played earlier this season, basically your ideal situation would be starting at the beginning of the week, training and stuff like that, looking at the Bills tape. When you look at the tape, what are places where you feel like you can succeed against this defense?
They do a whole bunch of different stuff, so it's just a matter of executing. You play man, you play zone, you play pressure, and a little bit of everything, and they're very talented, and just trying to put together the best game plan to attack their weaknesses and their zone coverages and their man matchups and trying to block up and pick the best protections we can.
Did you get a chance to meet Trent, and what were your impressions of him?
Yeah, Trent is a pretty cool dude. I was actually taller than him, whether he missed it or not. That's pretty cool. But it was nice to meet him for the first time. I hope I get to talk to him.
You say anything about his locker? It used to be a double locker, and now it's your spot.
All I was worried about was all the stuff they had next to his locker, and I'm glad it's gone because I didn't want to get yelled at for it. So that's the first thing I said to him. It wasn't my fault, but but he's cool. He's a good dude.
So that was Dwayne after practice. And someone in the comment section, make sure if you want your comment read on the air, use the hashtag LouisTLive if we're able to get to comments if the phone lines aren't busy. But someone asked, my man Deshaun Drakeford asked, who's the quarterback for the game in Week 9 versus the Bills? Right now, that's up in the air. I told you earlier in the week that I'm going with Case Keenum until otherwise notified. But right now, Dwayne is taking all the first-team reps. I told you after Thursday, you would get a better sense of who's going to start. If Case isn't at practice tomorrow, hasn't been cleared out of the concussion protocol, I'm going to assume then it's probably going to be Dwayne Haskins. But again, until we are told that Dwayne is going to get the start, assume that it's going to be Case Keenum. But I wanted to read a little snippet of an article that really troubles me. And it may be for a different reason than it troubles you. But I want to give you a little piece of an article I read by Les Carpenter of the Washington Post. All right, and so the headline of the article was Dwayne Haskins could start on Sunday, but questions remain about how ready he is. Now, this was on the heels of the Vikings game, and of course the confusion that rained down once Dwayne got in. You know, you had the bad penalty. I told you that was the most concerning part for me. Not the interception over the middle of the field to Terry McLaurin. You know, that was just a throw, sailed on him. It was a defender with his hands up, not the proper trajectory. Maybe not even the throw you want him making in that particular situation. But the thing that concerned me more, and I told you this right after the game, was the fact that he couldn't get everybody lined up. That guys were confused. He was sending Trey Quinn in motion, and Trey Quinn had no idea what he was supposed to be doing. Everyone was confused, and we got a penalty, and that showed that he didn't command the huddle. He didn't know the play. He didn't recite it correctly, and everybody wasn't on the same page. That was more alarming than anything else, and that kind of rang true to what Jay Gruden had mentioned about Dwayne in the preseason when he talked about Dwayne simply not being ready. So that was the thing that was most alarming to me. Then you have this article, and remember what I talked about yesterday on the Redskins Nightly News when I referred to the Redskins as an organization that destroys quarterbacks and that they're slowly but surely destroying Dwayne Haskins. Let's take a look at this article quickly and a couple of excerpts from this article that I found interesting. Now, the very top of this, I highlighted the two sentences that really stuck out to me in this article. And so I'm going to read to you what they say, and you can follow along. It says, after the game, one player said he didn't think Haskins had been prepared to play. So right there, you're getting a player submarining his fellow teammate, and whether right or wrong, whether he was right, and he probably was right that Dwayne wasn't prepared to play, but right or wrong, you can't have that coming out into the media. You know, you don't hear these things coming out of New England. You don't hear these things coming out of Green Bay. You don't hear these things coming out of Pittsburgh. You don't hear, well, maybe Pittsburgh, when Roethlisberger was in there with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and there was a little bit of turmoil. But generally speaking, in Pittsburgh, you don't hear these kinds of things coming out. With the better organizations, the Baltimore Ravens, you don't hear these types of issues cropping out into the media where there's a story to be written. And so that's probably the most frustrating thing. But this is the most damning piece of this article here that really troubles me, that it bothers my spirit. All right. And it says, multiple people with knowledge of Haskins' development said Haskins is struggling to learn the team's plays, and they've expressed surprise that he doesn't know them yet. Okay. While all of that may be true, and that is troubling if he doesn't have a better grasp of the offense. And look, I'm not going to kill the kid for not knowing. It's a lot. Have you heard an NFL play called when the offensive coordinator or the play caller has all of this verbiage in it? I mean, ask someone that has knowledge of a play call when teams don't make it simpler and don't dumb it down a bit, ask them to recite a play call to you. It's literally 2 sentences long. Seriously, it's ridiculous. So I'm not going to kill him, but I'd like him to be a little, and again, he did not do this at Ohio State. That's the difference between some of these guys that come from a pro-style offense where they actually had to call the play in a huddle and weren't looking over to the sideline for a card and then clapping their hands 2 or 3 times for the football and then proceeding to run the play. It's different when you actually have to recite an entire play, relay it to everyone so they know exactly what their responsibility is on that particular play, tag certain things so that they know what they should be looking for, if they got to go into motion and this, that, and the third, then know what you have to call when you get to the line of scrimmage to get you in the proper protections. It's a lot. All right, but I'm not going to defend him if he's not doing what he needs to do on his end and holding up his end of the bargain. But here is my biggest problem. My problem isn't the fact that Dwayne Haskins may not be as comfortable with the playbook as he should be at this point. All right, my biggest issue is the fact that this is coming out. The fact that there's enough content here for Les Carpenter to feel comfortable enough to write a story, an article, having sources that he can cite, anonymous or not, having guys that he's comfortable enough talking to, that are comfortable enough talking to him in that Redskins locker room, in that Redskins organization, that gives him enough fodder to go write an article pretty much saying that Dwayne is behind in his development right now. That's how you destroy a man's confidence. That's how you destroy. We should be building Dwayne up. There shouldn't be articles like this being written with content coming from within the organization. Typical Redskins having these types of leaks and really demeaning a quarterback and making it harder for him to do his job. Again, I talked about the Redskins organization yesterday as one that is starting to slowly but surely harm Dwayne Haskins and his development. And I'm hoping that he's able to shake free of all of the outside noise, focus in on what he's supposed to be doing, and rise above all the noise and become a really good quarterback in this league for the Washington Redskins. That's what we're hoping. But articles like this, with people in your own organization stabbing you in the back with daggers like this, is why I've said what I said and continue to think that they're slowly but surely destroying Dwayne Haskins. It's not the fact that he doesn't know what's going on. It's the fact that this was able to be spilled to a reporter for him to write an article. That's what happens in bad organizations. But I digress. I just wanted to share that with you. But you heard it from Dwayne himself. Dwayne said, I've changed. And what he's essentially telling you is, yeah, I wasn't preparing as hard as I should have been. I wasn't preparing myself to play. I didn't think I was going to. Remember what Dwayne, and I played you the audio earlier in the season, before the season even started, when Dwayne Haskins said, I need a whole year to get under my belt, to get comfortable with the verbiage and the play calling and being able to get into the game so when I get in, I don't look back. Remember that comment? Remember that statement that I played for you when he said that? I think he was abiding by that. I think he was thinking that I'm not playing this year. They keep telling me I'm not ready. And it's this self-fulfilling prophecy when people keep telling you something over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. You start to believe it. And you keep hearing people say, you're not ready. 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 And eventually you start to believe, hey, I'm not ready. So I'm not giving him an excuse to not prepare as if he's going to get an opportunity or to work hard enough to be ready when your number is called. He needs to be better. And I think what you just heard from him when he was talking after practice is a guy that understands. And I think it took a veteran like Adrian Peterson to pull him aside to say, hey, look, man, you got to tighten up, bro. You got to get in this playbook. You got to be ready when your number is called. If you want to dispel all the notions that are out there about you, you got to be ready. And I think Dwayne even said it himself. He didn't say those exact words, but he pretty much alluded to the fact that I'm different now. And I've got a different sense of focus. I've got a different feel for what's going on right now, and I'm locked in. And every day since we've heard that he's after practice with some receiver on Monday, it was Terry McLaurin, or Tuesday it was McLaurin. On Monday, it was Darvin Kidsey, I believe it was. So every day he's after practice with some player, getting in extra reps. And so you're seeing a different level from Dwayne Haskins, which probably should have been there all along. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It wasn't there. And so Dwayne Haskins now starting to step his game up a little bit, and so that is a situation that I'm going to continue to monitor. But the best way for him to get rid of all of this is to play well. If he gets the opportunity to start on Sunday versus the Buffalo Bills in Week 9, the best way for him to start to change the narrative is to play well. So we'll see what happens. But in any event, I totally forgot that I don't have the phone number up on the stream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the phone number into the chat down below. But unfortunately, I don't know the number by heart. So if one of you knows the number, put it in the chat. If you don't, then I'll get the number for you guys. But I don't know the number. I'm not going to lie to you. So if any of you knows the number, put it in the chat, and then I will re-comment and post the chat, the number, so that you guys can call in. If not, then I will simply just go and get the number. But if you have the number out there, go ahead, post the number for everyone, and then I will take that number and then I will repost it so that everyone has access to the number. So with that being said, I don't see anybody posting the number, so that means I'm going to have to get the number myself. So give me 1 second while I go and get the number so you guys can call in. Give me a second. All right, so I put the number in the chat. It's there for you guys. If you want to call in, knock yourself out. We've got a little over 40 minutes until it's 8 o'clock. We're going to stop exactly at 8 because I know a lot of you are Nationals fans. I do not want to stop you from getting in front of your television set so you can watch Game 7 of the World Series. So the number is in the chat right now. And so you guys can call in, knock yourselves out. Can't wait to hear from you. But until then, until I actually get a call, I'm going to start reading some of your comments. Protect Sports says, Haskins was disinterested as hell at the presser. He always sounds that way, so it's not new to me listening to him. He's kind of dismissive when he speaks. Hold on, we got a call. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with? Okay. So he is always, it seems like he's always dismissive when he speaks at these pressers or these media scrums at his locker. He almost seems annoyed at times. But again, I think he'll be better as he continues to get opportunities to do this. Once he becomes the starter, I think you'll hear a guy that is a little bit more engaging. He wasn't always like this. Like when you hear him talk at Ohio State, it wasn't as short to the point. And like I said, almost flippant and dismissive. So I think you'll see him, once he's the starter, be a little bit more forthcoming and open and a little bit more warm too. He's got that kind of New York abrasive approach. Most New York people from New Yorkers are very abrasive and aggressive, and he has that kind of temperament. Remember, he's from Jersey. You're on live with your man Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey guys. Hey Louis, this is Steve. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. Turn your monitor down in the background.
It's already down. It's completely down.
All right.
I heard it as the ring came in there. I want to ask you, what makes you think that Haskins has the skills to be the starting quarterback for this team? Because every indication of everything that's been happening, he doesn't seem to be taking this serious. And I want to make a reminder to everyone up here listening, and that is a few years ago, I don't know if anybody remembers, there was an Ohio State player. He played 1 year. I believe he was a junior at the time, and he tore it up. Then the next year, he didn't declare for the draft. And he played another year, and then I don't know. I think he went in the fifth, sixth, seventh round. And I don't know if it's playing him when he can't literally call the plays in the huddle. That's super disturbing. I mean, I'm sure you and most other people who played the game, at least at a minor level, much more expansive and complicated. But I'm sorry, I find it very disturbing that he cannot even call a play in the huddle. We saw this on display in the last game. Your comments, please.
Yeah. So you're talking about I forgot his name, the Ohio State quarterback that won the national championship.
Right.
Went back to school, ended up getting drafted by the Chargers, and Cardale Jones is his name. Cardale Jones is his name.
Right.
And he's in the XFL right now, so he'll be playing for the XFL. But back to Dwayne. So you asked me what gives me any hope for this guy and why do I think he's any good? Look, that's probably the biggest question right now. We don't know. We know he has talent. That's a foregone conclusion. We all know he can throw the football. He can spin it with the best of them. He has athleticism, way more than I gave him credit for coming into the league. The preseason was a big indication that this guy can move. And I think there are a lot of tools that he has that makes you intrigued. But the thing is, we got to see it. And that's why I want him to play. Because he can't get better on the sidelines. The only thing he can get better is from a mental standpoint, which we could all argue he needs to get better from a mental standpoint. But even more so than the mental part of the game, he needs to be able to adjust to the speed of the game, to these coverages that teams are going to throw at him. All of the things that happen during the course of the game. I think he can pick up the mental part of the game as he gets more reps in practice. That's part of the reason we keep talking about reps in practice. Muscle memory, mental memory, all of these things. And everyone learns differently. You know, I'm a visual learner. I see something, I can do it. You can tell me 1,000,000 times, I might be able to do it, but if I see it, I know I can do it. So,
well, you know what? I have to disagree just a little bit. And let me make one more comment. I said my name is Steve, but basically you see me in the comments, I'm Icefield. But
okay.
He's already proven he doesn't know the playbook. I mean, like guys, when you're younger and you play football, and say you're on the offensive line, right? You know every other position on that line to play if you're called in to do it. And he doesn't even know the playbook. And we have these rumors, whether true or not, of AP going up there and saying, "Hey, man, dudes, bro, you got to learn that. You got to learn the playbook, man."
Yeah. No.
You're running out crazy.
You're absolutely right, and that rumor I think is true. AP had every opportunity to dispel that notion, and he didn't. He just pretty much called the reporter out for not coming to him first. He never said, "I didn't say that." So I think he did say that. So and there's some truth to it. And you heard Dwayne in the audio that I just played you from his presser today, or the media scrum in his locker, where he pretty much said, "I changed this week," and they asked him to elaborate, and he really said, "Look, I changed in a multitude of ways." You know, it's a lot of things that force me to change, but I'm changing. So I think he acknowledged the fact that he probably wasn't putting in the type of work that he needed to. And while that can be disturbing at times, I get that, and I get where you're coming from. At the end of the day, I look at Dwayne Haskins as a young kid, and again, I don't want to make any excuses for him. But when you only played 1 year at Ohio State, and when you see guys like Ryan Finley, who's going to get the start, or Gardner Minshew, or even Duck Hodges for the Steelers, all of these guys played multiple years in college, were starters, so they got to experience a lot of things that Dwayne Haskins simply did not get to experience by only playing 1 year of college football. So when you look at all of those things, and again, he played in an offense that was not conducive to him being successful to just transition right in. That's why you don't see a lot of Ohio State or Florida quarterbacks, for that matter, that played under Urban Meyer. The only guy that really made it from Urban Meyer to the NFL was Alex Smith. And you saw how long it took Alex Smith. He had to get out of San Francisco before he really started to flourish. Because in Urban Meyer's offense, you're not using a lot of verbiage. It's a lot of cards, it's a lot of hand signaling, and you're just going. And it's easy. It's you don't think, you just go out and you play. So there's a transition. And I think that I would like to see him on the field because he's got a wristband. I mean, we see Aaron Rodgers, who's in a new offense this year with his new head coach, and Matt LaFleur. He's reading from a wristband. It's not like Aaron Rodgers has the plays committed to memory. He's reading from a wristband. So you give Dwayne Haskins a wristband, all right, with all the plays that you want to run in that particular game. And they can fit like 80 plays on that wristband. and you send him out there. Hey, run number 6. He reads off the play, and again, this is what practice comes into play. The plays that you're going to run in the game, you run them in practice, so he's more comfortable and confident calling them, and that's how you mature him, and that's how he is able to kind of get better as he's learning on the fly. That's how I would go about it.
Okay, let me ask you one more question, and I'll get off the line here so I'm not hogging the line for other people.
Okay.
You talk about Dwayne playing. I think we all want to see that.
Right.
But how much do we want to see? I personally just want to see him play the last games and see where we're at. And personally, if he doesn't do it, which I think he will fail, I've said it many times on your website, do we draft another quarterback? And here's the other part. Do we let him play the rest of this year and then blow all of next year for him to learn? I mean, how far does it go before we decide, this guy's a bust? His actions tell you one thing, and then he does another.
So this is the thing.
And I'll hang up and listen to your answer. Thank you.
Hey, man, no problem. Appreciate you, Ice Mule. So here's the thing. You let him play the remaining 8 games of the season. That's how you're going to get him to learn. You're hoping that this learning experience transfers over to next year, and you're able to see how good this guy really is next season. But here's the thing. Most likely, unless Kevin O'Connell is your offensive coordinator or head coach next year, you're going to have a brand new play caller with a whole new playbook with all new verbiage, and everything's different, and he's starting all over again. It's how Jason Campbell got destroyed in Washington. It's how Joe Flacco, and I know a lot of you aren't Joe Flacco fans, but Joe Flacco had like 7 different coordinators in like 8 years in Baltimore. It's how you destroy a quarterback. All right. It's how Marcus Mariota right now is fighting for his life in Tennessee and not even starting, and probably have played his last downs in Tennessee. You keep changing offensive coordinators, and you stunt the growth of a quarterback. If the quickest way to stunt the growth of a quarterback is to continue to change offensive play callers and coordinators and change the verbiage. And so next year, Dwayne may have a totally new offense, totally new play caller, and be right behind the 8 ball all over again. And so I'm not a fan of giving up on players after 1 year. I hate the precedent that has been set with Josh Rosen. But I think if Dwayne isn't who we think he is, guess what? We'll be right back in this situation again, and we'll be able to take a quarterback like a Trevor Lawrence. There'll be other guys available. But trust me, they're not giving up on him after just 1 year, and I wouldn't endorse that. I want them to figure out once and for all if this guy's any good. And he needs time to figure that out. So we all thought, and I know a lot of you, and I'm going down this road again, all right? But a lot of you thought Kirk Cousins was trash after his first 8, 9, 10 starts of his career, all right? He got benched for Colt McCoy in the Tennessee game because he was awful in the first half of that game. You thought that Kirk Cousins was god-awful and you wanted him gone. The man turned out to be a guy that almost threw for 5,000 yards with no run game and no defense. You know? So, like I said, you got to give guys time. We're too quick to react. You're live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, what's up, man? This is Corey from Northeast D.C., man. Hey, man, it's unfair to judge Dwayne Haskins off, 30 attempts? Man, I think they need to, you got to start him, then you judge him based off 15 to 20 starts. Just like Baker Mayfield, everybody was crowning him after 7 starts. You can't judge a quarterback off that many starts. You got to let Dwayne Haskins, you got to let him beat a man, then you judge him after 15 to 20 starts. That's all I got to say, man. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, have a good one, man. And I'd even take it further, man. I think you need more than 15 because 15 starts is a full season. 16 starts is one full NFL season. All right? And we love to make judgments off of guys off of 5 starts, 4 starts. I mean, it's ridiculous. Got to give guys an opportunity to get their feet wet in this league. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Yo, Lou, how you doing?
What's going on?
I'm good. Yo, what's up with you and the love of Kirk Cousins, man? Come on.
Hey, look, man. Kirk, hey, look, don't get me started. You trying to set me up, man. I won't let you do it. I won't let you take me down that rabbit hole, man. You know how I feel about Kirk.
Anyways, let me get to this topic. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about the first caller and talking about, black quarterbacks are not ready and this and that. First of all, let's cut that short.
I don't think he said. I don't think he said black quarterbacks. I don't
That's
think he said.
exactly what he was trying to do.
That's how you interpreted
exactly
that. I didn't interpret
say.
it that way.
Okay. But
go ahead.
anyways,
Go ahead.
let's get back to this thing.
Yep.
First of all, when it comes to Dwayne, when he got drafted to this team, all he heard was, he's not ready. We need to take time for him. He needs a year. So internally, the guy thinks, you know what? This whole year is a year that I'm not going to touch the field at all. I'm just going to sit back and not do anything. Because guess who's playing? Case Keenum is right there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Even from the beginning of training camp, this guy got no first-team reps, nothing. Okay. Now he plays in 2 games. The first game, he came in as a backup. And the second game, he came in as a backup again. And all of a sudden, y'all want him to be like this greatest thing that ever happened on earth. Like, that's so dumb in the first place. Okay. Now, the first caller really got me riled up. Because I'm thinking, it's always about, when it comes to a black quarterback, oh, he's not ready, this, that. That's crap. Cut it. Okay. If we give this guy the first reps, okay, first team reps, get him ready, I'm very sure that eventually he's going to get better. He might not be better today, not even tomorrow, but he needs to play. The kid needs to play. He's not going to get better sitting on the bench.
Right.
Like, do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do, man. I appreciate you chiming in too, man. Have a good one.
All right, man. You take care.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm totally on board with what he was saying. I don't think that Ice Mule was saying anything about black quarterbacks. Maybe I missed that. Maybe he did. I don't think he said that. I just think he said that Dwayne wasn't ready to play and wasn't prepared, which he wasn't. But at the end of the day, I'm with the last caller that you got to give this guy an opportunity to play. You got to give him first team reps. You got to get him ingrained in the game plan and give him the best chance to succeed. And Dwayne has to do his part as well. I'm not absolving him of wrongdoing in this situation. He's got to prepare as if he's a starter, even if he's the backup. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's going on, Louis? It's your man calling like you said in the chat.
Hey, what's going on, man? Make sure you turn your monitor down in the background.
All right, let me turn it down, man. You say that to everybody. I thought I turned it down.
Yeah, we can hear it. You good?
Yeah, you know, when it comes to the offense, you know, and there's no excuse that he's behind like he is. But with the reports that was coming out earlier of how Jay didn't want to draft him, and knowing kind of like the writing was on the wall for Jay, he's not going to be in the same offense. That's no excuse for why he shouldn't be been more prepared and ready to hit the field. But you know, once you found out that your head coach really wasn't all that in favor of having you, and it's been showing and playing out even during the practices. I don't know. I just don't think he bought in. He didn't buy into the bull crap that Jay may have been selling him, and you know, he just didn't really get his head in the book. Seen the writing on the wall, knew that Jay wasn't going to be there, and it's going to be a whole entirely different offense next year. We need to bring in a coach who's going to take and room this kid in their offensive system from the beginning and give him the confidence to know that he's going to be the man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I think there was a little bit of that with him, and I appreciate you calling in, man. Have a good one.
All right, do the same. Peace.
Yeah. I really agree with that. I think there was a little bit of that Jay doesn't want me here. He can feel that vibe that, you know, Jay doesn't want me here. Jay's not giving me an opportunity, and Jay's not going to be here if we don't win. I think there was a little bit of that going on in his head, but I'm not going to take him off the hook. He has to be more mature. This is not college. This is the NFL. You're getting paid. He needs to be a little bit more mature and prepared.
What's going on, Lou? This Corey.
What's going on, Corey? All right, you good now. I thought you had your monitor on loud. Go ahead.
No. I'm just outside with a lot of cars.
Okay.
So I just wanted to comment right quick about Dwayne Haskins, and this is what I want all of the Redskins fans to understand, and it's something that you have brought up also. We're talking about a young 21, 22-year-old kid here, okay? If we notice in the preseason, the reason why he got a little better each game, because
this is just me thinking this, okay? I'm under the impression that the kid had the mentality of, in the preseason, like, look, there's open competition. I have the chance to be a starter. And let me go out here and just see if I can get better and see if I can outplay Case. And then, boom, he can make me the starter, and we can go on from there. And I can start to grow, and I can start to flourish. But when he started to get the sense towards after the end of that preseason and going into the regular season, getting that sense of Jay not wanting him, Jay not wanting to develop him and everything like that, we have to understand the mind of young kids and a kid that age, that when they have that impression from somebody, of course they're going to take a step back like, well, shoot, man, if you ain't going to throw me in the game, why should I even prepare? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know if that's the right assessment to go with, but I'm just looking at the mentality of a young 21, 22-year-old that we're looking at, who had the feeling of being a starter, coming out here playing well, and just doing the darn thing.
Yep.
But now it just pretty much is all blown up out of proportion. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Hey, look, Corey, man. Again, there's so much that goes into this. It's not just one thing, and there is an aspect, and I did talk about that already, of youth. You're talking about a guy that is relatively young. That this is all new to him, and everybody. And I've said this a million times, and I said sports is a microcosm of life, and in life, I said that everyone doesn't mature at the same rate. You'll meet a dude that's 12 years old, a kid that's 12 that acts like he's 28, and you'll meet a 28-year-old that acts like he's 12. Like, everyone doesn't mature at the same rate. And sometimes life comes at you fast, and so you got to grow up faster because that's what life dealt you. And in the case of football players, guys come into the league ready to go, hit the ground running, and you're like, man, this dude was a beast from day one. And then there's guys that don't get it. The light bulb doesn't come on till year 3 or year 4. And it's because of how they were reared in college and in high school, and how, things came to them. And it's all different. Everyone is different, and you can't just look at Daniel Jones, or you can't just look at Kyler Murray, or you can't just look at this quarterback or that quarterback and say, why isn't Dwayne doing this? Dwayne learns differently. Dwayne is a different guy, and he internalizes things differently. And so everything's different. And I think you got to take all of these things into consideration. And I've seen it with players before where they come in, they don't look like they're worth a damn. And then 2.5 years later, you're like, man, this dude is a beast. This dude is awesome. All right. So I just think time is what we need to start investing into Dwayne. And I think it needs to be on the field. And you need to give this guy an opportunity to show what he's capable of. And as Corey just mentioned, as we saw growth every week with him playing in the preseason. That's not an accident, okay? Every week we saw him improve, not make the same mistakes twice. And we saw this guy gaining confidence. All of that was lost when he had to go back to the bench and wait for his turn. So I just want to see him get back to gaining that confidence and growing off of mistakes and learning. It's hard to do that when 1 week you're playing and then you're not playing for 3 more weeks, and then you're thrusted into the game again. You didn't get any reps, and all of a sudden they're asking you to go out and execute. It's tough. It's tough. Hey, but Corey, man, I appreciate you, bro. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Yep. So, I mean, these are all things that y'all got to take into consideration, man. I really think that he has talent, and I'm not sure, and I wasn't high on Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State. I thought there were several other quarterbacks better than him in this draft, and I was a Drew Lock guy, Kyler Murray, obviously, and then I had Dwayne third, and I thought a close fourth was the quarterback, Ryan Finley, who's going to get his first career start in Week 10 for the Cincinnati Bengals. I thought that Dwayne had a ways to go. And I didn't think he was as athletic as he's shown us. And I was surprised when I saw him in the preseason running and scrambling and doing some of the things he was able to do. That wowed me. I didn't see that at Ohio State necessarily. So I was blown away by some of the things he showed me. And so I think there is a lot more that's untapped with Dwayne Haskins that if he's given an opportunity, he can show us. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
What's going on, Louis? This is DeMarco.
What's going on, DeMarco?
What up? Hey, man. I don't know what's going on, man. It's like every time when, Dwayne Haskins, comes in, it's like, he just comes in unprepared, thinking that Tom Brady is, in front of him. Like, he's never going to play, but as soon as his number, gets called, he just freezes up,
it's been an issue with these two opportunities. He has looked unprepared. He's looked like a guy that's been a deer in headlights. And I think he understands that. And I think that soundbite I played for you from the media scrum today kind of illustrates that he understands the narrative that's out there about him. I talked about that on the RNN yesterday about him hearing the noise out there and saying, look, don't put me in the middle of this media narrative about me. And I think he's starting to understand that. And I think Adrian Peterson pulling him aside was the best thing that could have happened to him, because I think he realized it's one thing to hear people outside the locker room talking and it's a bunch of noise. And, you know, your players love to throw that you're not in this locker room or you don't know what you're talking about because you didn't play type of deal. But when one of your teammates pulls you aside, and a veteran, a future Hall of Famer like Adrian Peterson, who has probably the best work ethic on the team, pulls you aside and says, hey, look, man, you're not working hard enough. All right? These opportunities that keep coming your way and you keep throwing them down the toilet, these aren't going to keep coming your way. You want people to stop bad-mouthing you and talking about you not ready? You got to get your ass in here early, leave late, and you got to get your head in that playbook and understand that these opportunities don't come often. You're getting a great opportunity here. You got to take full advantage of it when your number's called. And so I think he's starting to understand that he's going to have to work a lot harder than he has been since he's gotten here.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to seeing, hopefully, him getting a start in week 9 with all the first team reps and seeing what that Dwayne Haskins looks like versus Dwayne coming in late stages of the second or starting the second half with limited to no first team reps.
Right. I mean, like, start the whole game, have them, develop and, have them prepare with the, first team reps, so you don't have to, just, be thrown out there like you said, in the second half, like he's always been thrown out there in the second half and hasn't been prepared to play.
Right. So, and that's what we're hoping we see from here, maybe moving forward. And I still think that when Case comes back, I think old man Callahan, unless this Bills game goes really well, I think we're going back to Case Keenum, even if Dwayne starts this game. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because Callahan, he's trying to prove a point, trying to get the head coaching job for his team next year.
Absolutely he is, man. And hey, DeMarco, I appreciate you calling in, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, have you too, man.
Appreciate it. And you heard, and Callahan talked about that at the presser today. Look, we're trying to win games. Callahan, he will tell you, yeah, I'm trying to develop players, but I told you this yesterday. Behind those glasses is a guy that is out to try to win this job. And the best way he knows how to do that is by playing guys that he thinks is going to give him the best chance to win. I got a super chat, so I want to read this first. It's from Travis Blankenship. And I appreciate the super chat, Travis. He says, Tom Brady is our Lord and Savior. Okay, Travis. I appreciate the super chat, though, man. I really do. Anyway, got a call. Going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, how's it going? Louis Nelson.
What's going on, Nelson?
Ain't nothing much, man. Hey, look, talking about that development piece, I think that's a huge portion of how you get success. And I think there's a generational gap nowadays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Working with younger folks, sometimes you don't see that same type of mentality that nothing is given to you.
Right.
That it has to be earned. It has to be worked for, right? And I think what Adrian Peterson tried to do was just emphasize that, hey, nothing is given to you. You're paid to do a job, yes. But if you don't come through with the actual right work ethic and showing that, hey, this is an opportunity that's a once in a lifetime, I have to utilize it, I think that's where you're going to see that failure. And we're in a generation where you're 100% right. Everything is right in the moment. You got Twitter, you got Instagram, you got all these things that are right in that moment that it can affect you. And if you don't have that right mentality and you don't have that peace and you don't have people around you saying, hey, you got this, it can be detrimental to his growth as a person. And I think, again, how the Redskins respond to that and really see like, hey, we have to feed this guy. We have to give him something, because if not, you're going to lose that confidence. And nowadays, like I said, the work ethic for some folks, because I work with a lot of younger folks, and that's the same mentality. They expect, I'm expected to get this. This is something that I deserve. No, you don't deserve it. Just because you got drafted in the first round, 15th pick, does not mean you deserve to automatically be a starter. You have to work for it.
Right.
And I'm glad that hearing the audio that you played earlier shows me that he's starting to get that.
Yep.
That the attitude has changed
Yep.
because he has older people around him saying, "Hey, look, you gotta bust your butt. Ain't nobody gonna give you this.
Yep.
If you expect that somebody's gonna give you this, or because you won a national championship at Ohio State, because you did these things, it don't mean jack squat as soon as you start a new career in the professional field."
Yep.
So I think I'm excited to hear these things, and I think you're right, Case Keenum. It looks like they're so strung on him because of the way that they speak so highly about him. But I'm trying to give on both sides that one, they have to develop him differently. They have to use a different approach because he is a young generational quarterback.
Right.
So you have to speak to him and have him build that confidence in a different type of way than you would 10 years ago when quarterbacks were a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think again it's a little bit of a mix, and the developmental piece needs to really be there. But I think he has all the attributes to do it. I just as long as that light switch hits, I think he'll be fine. But I want to challenge the Redskins on how are you really building a young quarterback confidence and their competency with the playbook to ensure that he's getting that right development.
Right.
But that's the only thing I wanted to share because again, that's kind of the two pieces. They got to learn to deal differently, and you spoke about it earlier with the Redskins thinking old school.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to really get on him in a sense that makes him feel, one, I'm really learning. Two, they're using my strengths versus my weaknesses. And three, hey, do I fully feel confident in this organization and feel confident in myself? But that's all I wanted to share, Luke.
Hey, man, appreciate you, Nelson, man. Great call, brother. So I feel the same exact way, man. And, one of the things that I thought the Redskins failed to do, especially when Jay Gruden was here, was building him up. They had ample opportunities in the media. They would ask Jay Gruden questions every single week about Dwayne Haskins and his progression and how do you feel like he's doing. And even if he didn't feel that way about Dwayne, he could have easily have said, look, Dwayne is making strides. We really think that this guy has immense potential and he just has to continue to work. And you need to build up the confidence of these guys. It's amazing what confidence can do for you. And for some strange reason, this organization has been immune to that over the years. And so I'm hoping that Dwayne Haskins is able to break the cycle of quarterbacks that have been unsuccessful here because Lord knows we need a franchise quarterback. We haven't had one that we've drafted. We haven't had one. I can't tell you the last time we had one that we drafted. But we haven't had one since probably Joe Theismann, to be honest with you. I mean, we've had several different quarterbacks take us to the Super Bowl, win under Joe Gibbs. But none of those guys were drafted here that won the Super Bowl. Theismann came from the Dolphins. Rippon was drafted here, but he wasn't really viewed as a franchise quarterback. And then Doug Williams came from Tampa. So it's been a long time, let me just say that. And we haven't had the track record of developing quarterbacks. At some point, that needs to change. That cycle needs to be broken, and I hope it starts with Dwayne Haskins. Got a call, going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with?
Hello?
Hey, you're on live. Who am I speaking with?
What's up, Louis T? This your man, Skins fan all day.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on with you, man?
Chilling, man. I'm sitting here listening to everybody's comment, man. I agree with mostly everybody. But I just want to put my little 2 cents in, and I'm going to go ahead and get out your way.
All right, sound good.
First of all, man, this Trent Williams thing, okay, who cares about Trent Williams?
Okay.
All right, Trent Williams did what he did. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and sweep that under the rug. Trent Williams definitely don't want to play with us. That's fine. Okay, now Dwayne Haskins. I'm tired of people, man, the media, the coaches, and everybody, some of the fans, they blaming Haskins, man, on the reason why we won the 7. First of all, Haskins did not even start the season. The problem with Haskins was when he got drafted, the coaches didn't want him. So that right there put, a bad taste in his mouth. That put a bad taste in, the fans' mouth that the coaches did not want him. Now, as far as him getting thrown in the games, that was, I wouldn't have did Haskins like that. I definitely wouldn't have thrown him in the games, knowing that he was not ready, knowing that he was not taking first team reps, just throwing him under the bus. Now, he's young. So basically,
to do to build this guy up. He's 22 years old. You know what I'm saying? You just can't draft a kid and just throw him under the bus, because that's going to mess him up mentally, and everything that he does is going to mess him up. So I blame the coaches. I blame whoever did not want Haskins on this team. They are the problem, the reason why he's the way he is now. You can't draft a guy and say I don't want him, and then you don't want to give him first team reps. They got him practicing with the practice squad or whatever he was practicing with. That's not right being a first round draft pick. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like what they're doing to this guy. He need to get more reps. He need to get more reps. When he was in college, throwing 50 touchdowns is not by accident. And I know that has to do with the college, the coach and all that, but throwing 50 touchdowns is not an accident at all. But now that he's in the NFL, things are definitely going to change. Defense is definitely going to be faster. The schemes is going to be different. It's going to be harder. But still, they have to bring this guy up. They got to bring this guy. They got to build up this guy's psyche, man. You can't just throw him in there when they want you, when they think they should throw him in, because they already know he's not ready. I mean, if he's not practicing with the first team reps, he's not practicing with the first team. He's practicing with third string, fourth string, fifth string, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 string. But still, they shouldn't do that guy like that, man. So the fans definitely got to stop blaming this guy, man. That's all I'm gonna say, Louis T. Thank you, brother.
Ain't no problem, Skins fan all day, man. Be easy.
You do.
So I disagree with him getting thrown in the Giants game. I didn't have a problem with Jay putting him in. I didn't have a problem with him going in. Again, you're the backup. Case was struggling. There was a foot injury. But more so than that, Case was struggling. He missed Trey Quinn wide open for a touchdown twice in that game. I didn't have a problem with Jay putting him in. My problem was with the play calling. All right? Simplify things. You get the ball out of his hands quickly. Bubble screens, slants, easy throws. There were too many complex things being thrown at him. For a guy not taking first team reps, and for a guy that didn't have a firm grasp of the offense, dumb it down for him. Simplify. You know who the best coaches are in the league? The guys that maximize their players' strengths and minimize their weaknesses. The coaches that have this plan and you have to conform to their plan versus them conforming to the talents of their players are the ones that find themselves either out of the league looking for work or as coordinators, okay? You got to find ways to get the most out of your guys. And Dwayne Haskins was great at Ohio State, throwing the football laterally. A lot of screens and a lot of tunnel screens and bubble screens and slants and shallow crosses. Easy throws, pitch and catch. All right, a lot of them 5 to 7 yards within the line of scrimmage. Do that, okay? You got a bunch of those plays in your playbook. Do that, all right? Get him comfortable. So I felt like they haven't done the best job of doing that, and they've thrown him to the wolves at times. And I thought they did a better job of that in the Minnesota game. He threw a screen to Adrian Peterson. Still had a drop back where he threw it to Adrian Peterson a little late. Peterson still caught it, had a nice little gain after that, but there are opportunities for him to continue to grow. And I think as we see him play more, I hope if he gets to start, and he hasn't been announced as the starter yet, he's not out of the woods yet. Case Keenum could come back to practice tomorrow, and all of this could be for naught, and we could be seeing Case Keenum under center in Buffalo in Week 9. But if he gets to start in Week 9, I pray that this guy does well, because if he doesn't, Case Keenum will be right back in after the bye in Week 11 versus the Jets. And you can bank on that. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, you're on live. Who am I speaking with? Oh, man, you got a bad connection, man. You got to call back. So, it's unfortunate that Day 44 says Cardale Jones was actually drafted by the Bills. You are correct. And then he ended up in a trade to the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, like a year or two later after he was drafted. You're right. And he's no longer in the league. He's, like I said, going to be playing in the XFL. So thank you for that correction by Day 44. See if there are any other, let's see. All right. You're on live with your man, Louis T. Who am I speaking with? Much better, man. Much better.
Yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. What about yourself?
I'm doing good. It's Eddie Barringer, man.
What's going on, Eddie?
Man, our team is in disarray. Been in disarray for a long time.
It has.
And I don't know. It just seems sad that even with like they keep doing the same stuff over and over again. It's just mismanagement.
Yeah.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
Even back to RG3.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you pick him against the coach's wishes.
Mm-hmm.
However, the difference is Shanahan won with him.
Mm-hmm.
Shanahan won with RG3.
So
He changed,
Shanahan
made changes.
Shanahan said, "Look, if we take him," and Shanahan was on board. He's on record as saying, "Look, I was on board with taking Robert Griffin III, but he told Daniel Snyder, if we take him, it's going to take a while before he develops into a real pocket passing quarterback. You have to allow us the time to get him there." And instead of Daniel Snyder taking a back seat, making sure Robert understood who was in charge and making him respect his coach, he gave him a direct path to the office of the owner and allowed Robert Griffin III access to Snyder to go over the head coach's head, and it just went to hell in a handbasket. It turned into a shit show.
Right. And now, even with this, Gruden was just being stubborn when it came to Haskins because, I mean, last year we had quarterbacks that come in straight off the street, and it at least made them look like, I mean, this dude hadn't played in a minute, but he changed the offense, dumbed it down, and it at least looked like, I mean, people was like, bring him back next year to, you know, try out or whatever.
Right.
I mean, he could have made changes, but he just was being stubborn.
Yep. And that's what we all said. I think that's a great point, Ed, man, is that we watched Jay Gruden take Josh Johnson last year at the end of the season and make this guy a viable NFL quarterback. Now, we're not saying he needed to start, but he came in and he gave us a chance. First of all, we beat Jacksonville. It wasn't pretty, and Jacksonville was horrible, but we beat Jacksonville. And then I thought Josh Johnson actually played well against Tennessee, except for that one throw at the end. And if Michael Floyd could catch the damn touchdown pass that he threw to him, we probably win that damn Tennessee game, and we would have been one game away from potentially making the postseason, or at least having a shot in Week 17 versus the Eagles. So, to your point, Jay could have done something to make Dwayne Haskins more comfortable, and he just didn't want to. And I think,
he didn't want to because I mean, the dude he had that quarterback, man. Last year, he had him at least looking like he knew the plays, you know, and he didn't even have a whole off season or nothing. This was like on the fly.
Yep.
It was like on the fly, but he made it happen. But like, I kind of can understand some of the stuff because it's like this dude is on the chopping block. They already say he was a dead man walking. The coach, Gruden. I mean, if you wasn't going to extend his contract, which that wasn't going to happen, so that he could say, okay, we can develop him now because now I know I'm going to be here. But if you telling me I got to win and I got to get this guy developed, that's impossible.
Yeah, man. I feel you, Ed, but
But he could have tried. He could have tried and went out at least like he stood his ground and say, "Well, I'm gonna go out like I want to go out."
And he went out with Colt
McCoy
McCoy
coming back in and da 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 da.
He sure
but
did.
If he would have just adjusted because he was capable of doing it, but he was just like, "I'm gonna do it my way, man." But last year, when his job, you know, when he still had time on his contract and I don't want to get fired, he adjusted that whole offense. And it at least looked efficient.
Yep. And he could have done it, but like I said, Jay had his motives, and we saw what happened. But it is what it is. But it's almost 8, Ed. So I'm gonna cut this thing short, man. I appreciate you chiming in, bro. Have a good one, bro. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Too, man.
No doubt. And so it's 8 o'clock, guys. I know a lot of y'all gotta go. I'm gonna leave you with this comment from my Mr. Year Hedro, I guess. I don't know what it says, but it says, how do you think we can boycott and get change in our organization if we stop showing up to games, not purchasing merchandise? Will this cause Dan to reconsider current structure? I told you, everybody just needs to do their part, whatever that is. If it's stop going to games, if it's stop buying merchandise, everybody just has to do their part. And my thing is, I'm not going to any games. I'm not helping anybody else go to any games. I'm not buying any merchandise. That's my contribution to the movement. And as long as everyone does their part, that's all you can do. And it's not going to be one guy individually, but everybody collectively as a unit coming together will help maybe get, change for this organization for the better. But that's going to do it for this Redskins Report live stream. I thank you guys for chiming in. This was a great night and some really good calls from you guys. Go enjoy the baseball. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow on the Redskins Nightly News, where we'll start turning our attention to the Buffalo Bills in Week 9. Hopefully, we'll have a starter crowned in Dwayne Haskins. But until then, I'm your man, Louis T. Remember, I am a Redskins fan etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. Redskins spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Washington Redskins. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Louis T Network.